So when my school district gave me the option to stay full-time distance learning or to go hybrid learning, I was skeptical. The thing is, I really wanted to do hybrid, but then I was like, well, it's only gonna be for 6 weeks. We're only gonna go to school for a total of 12 days. Is it really actually gonna be worth it? And after some thinking, I made up my mind and I decided to go hybrid. I decided to take the hybrid route. And so, yeah, in today's episode, I'm basically going to give you some pros and some cons of hybrid learning, in-person learning in the spring of 2021 with, the pandemic and all of that. Pros and cons coming right up. First pro is that when you're at school, when you're actually at school, in person, it gives you the sense of normalness, at least to a degree. You actually feel like it's funny because going to school in person is so exciting. If you were to tell me that was something exciting a year ago, I'd be like, dude, it's just going to school. It's not that exciting. But I'm gonna tell you, after being a whole year, more than a whole year actually, on Zoom, I could say with certainty that going back to school in person is whoa, getting to meet new people, getting to meet your teachers, getting just to familiarize yourself with normal life again. I know that sounds crazy, but it feels good. It really does feel good. Now, there aren't going to be very many cons in this video, which is great, but one major con, something that I really don't like about going to class in person is having to wear a mask for at least 3 hours straight. If you take it off, the teachers are immediately put your mask back on. You have to have your mask on at all times. Nose, mouth, absolutely no exceptions. And this kind of bothers me because I'm used to wearing my mask for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You go in the store, 20, 30 minutes is about the average, but 3 hours after a while, it's let me breathe, goddamn. But seriously, this is a huge thing, but I could see after a while you might be able to get used to it. Oh, I haven't even gotten into the fact that there's plexiglasses. Yes, there's literally plexiglasses around each desk. I think that's kind of overkill, especially since in one of my classes specifically, there's windows in the back, and so when the light's coming from behind, it's reflecting off the plexiglass, and you just have this bright light in your face, and you can barely see what the teacher's presenting on the whiteboard or what it's you have to lean your head over just to be able to see the teacher clearly, but that defeats the whole purpose of the plexiglass. I don't know, it's just Alright, so pro number two is kind of a big one for me, and that is because you feel connected, you feel reunited. I don't really know how to explain it, but when you're in person, when you're around other people, even though everyone has their masks on, even though everyone has to be 6 feet social distance, whatever, when I first stepped on campus, I felt like I was connected again, connected with people my age, connected with people who I share the same interest with, on top of being able to see my friends again from elementary school, middle school. Social media can only really do so much, where after a while it's you feel connected via social media, but it's not the same as in person, you know what I mean? When you're there in person, you feel their energy, you just feel it's not just being a sense of reality, but being a sense of whoa, there's people, I'm talking to somebody right now. I know it probably sounds really stupid, but once you get to see all your old friends and you start to reconnect and you're like, hey, what's up? I haven't talked to you in over a year. You have this feeling of connection, you have this feeling of joy, and that's why this pro is a big deal for me. And so con number two, well, maybe this is not so much of a con actually, but it's a pro and a con. So if you're somebody who gets distracted easily like me, or who just gets super bored fast, the teachers, sometimes they'll go too slow on the notes, or sometimes whatever they're talking about, they go into a long story of something that's extremely boring. Before, when you were just in distance learning, you could easily just take out your phone and then start scrolling on social media or watching YouTube, and then you're satisfied. But when you're in person, obviously, you could do that, but you're most likely gonna get in trouble. So you can't really do that, and instead you have to wait it out. out. And this is a con because like sometimes, well, I don't know about all teachers, but sometimes my teachers, they get into like super unnecessary conversations where it's like, it almost seems like it's there just to kill time. But also the reason why this is a pro is because, well, aside from that, I feel more focused when I'm in class. You know, like I said, I get very bored, I get distracted easily. Well, those distractions, they're no longer there. You have to focus. And you know, if you need help from the teachers, they're just right there. They're just a few steps away. And all you have to do is just ask them. For me, that's a pro, being able to focus, but also a con because I can't, you know, if I get bored, sometimes you have to just sit through those boring conversations and just, you know, wait them out. Alright, well, now you kind of know some of the pros and some of the cons of going back to school in person with this whole COVID thing going on. I will say there are definitely a lot more pros to this than cons. I definitely enjoyed my time. I don't go back tomorrow or Friday. I go back. I run on a Tuesday, Wednesday track. So I basically go back to school. I go to school, I should say, every Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, I have those same classes, but virtually. So that's what they call it, hybrid. Half the time on Zoom, half the time in class. If you were one of those people who was kind of like, well, should I do full-time online distance learning, like how we were doing, or should I switch to hybrid? Kind of like in this situation, I would say definitely switch to hybrid, or like whatever option your school calls it, like that involves going back to school like in person. I say definitely go for it. At the end of the day, we've only got like what, 6 weeks left of school, so even if for some reason you don't end up liking it, I mean, it's only for 6 weeks. So that is it for today's episode, my little pros and cons review type video of going back to school, in-person learning. Again guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in a couple days, or I'll see you in the next episode. Take care guys, bye.